first off, I want to say thank you all for having me here. It is always great to get back here to the Dallas chapter. I proudly wear my past president's pin right here in the middle of this. So I'm very proud to be a member of this chapter and a former chapter president. I want to also say it has been an absolute pleasure and honor to serve this last year as your president-elect for the State Society.
Can't hear you.
Huh?
Can't hear you.
Can somebody turn up the thing so my dad can hear me? And I am looking very much forward to next Saturday to be installed in as your state president for the next year. I want to be honest with you here for a second. Our organization's a little weird. You know, we have these signs that say, keep Austin weird, you know, People's Republic. We're a little weird too. And to give you evidence of that, think about our recessional when we did it. We thank our patriot forefathers. Now we should also be thinking our patriot foremothers, who was running the farm and the family when, you know, the forefathers were all playing soldier. But we thank our forefathers for our Constitution, a Bill of Rights, an independent Supreme Court, but we don't thank them for Congress or the President. Now, is that an omission? Maybe not. Maybe it's genius. But we also have a little bit of a weird country, too, if you think about it. Our country is the only country with a national anthem that ends with a question mark. You ever thought about that? I'll get back to that later. By the way, do you know how to keep someone in suspense? I'll tell you later. Now, one of the questions that have come up in conversation sometimes is, does the SAR still have a place in our society today? And spoiler alert, the answer to the question is yes, we do. And that is particularly so now, as we are approaching our 250th anniversary. And it is the semi-quincentennial celebration. Can y'all say that? Semi-quincentennial? Okay, come on, guys. It's like Farfig Nugan and Gewürztraminer and Bullwinkle. It's just fun to say. Semi-quincentennial. 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 You got to be able to say this, because if you're, you know, with SAR, they're going to expect us to be able to say these big words on that. And what is important as we approach the semi-quincentennial is there's going to be a lot of reflection on the history of our country. And we have some woke folks that are going to be very loud. They are going to point out our founding fathers were either slaveholders, and if they weren't, they tolerated them, which is just as bad. Slavery was evil. Therefore, our country is evil at the core. Everyone's got their own opinion. And I strongly recommend to you that in these discussions that you listen politely. Now, it is true what they say. Many of our founding fathers were slaveholders. It is true. Slavery was an evil institution. Millions of Americans died in a war settling that issue. It is true that our laws did not protect many of the people who were enslaved. And to be honest, our founding fathers may not have been as perfect or religious or moral as sometimes they're portrayed in children's books. But these, well, to be honest, in summary, like every man in this room, Our founding fathers had flaws and imperfections. I know that's big news to everybody here, but they did. But despite these flaws and imperfections, these founding fathers did something extraordinary. They took on the greatest power in the world, the British Empire, and came out victorious. It's like David and Goliath, except David has a slingshot and Goliath has a Sherman tank. Now, I'm not implying we did it alone. We didn't. We had help. But even with that, this was extraordinary. And this is a story we have to keep telling. And for every one of you in this room, this should be personal to you. Because our patriot ancestors had a piece of that. And I bring this up because the other day I was asked by somebody, what's the SAR all about? And I will honestly tell you, I have a 20-minute elevator speech, a little short ad. And I repeat it over and over and over. It's the same thing. Talk about education, historical preservation, blah, blah, blah. But I paused and I stopped, and I liked the answer I gave then better. And that is, my patriot ancestors were common people who did uncommon things at an important point in our history. And their voices are silenced, so it is up to me to be their voice now. And I'm going to make my first charge to you guys, well, there's spoiler alert, there'll be another one. My first charge to you is you need to be a voice for your patriot ancestor. You need to know something about what they do. And if somebody says, hey, what did your patriot ancestor do? Or what's your involvement with the SAR? Why are you in it? You can tell something about your patriot ancestor. So I want to tell you about the one that is on my application. We have several. My sister Gina has found like 20 patriot ancestors. Of course, my mom found several that were on the other side, but we don't talk about them. Thomas McSpadden Jr. is on my application, and on Dad's application too, and my son's, and will be on my grandson's. One interesting fact about him is that his father and mother were, well, his mother was Dorothy, and his father was Thomas McSpadden Jr. And then Thomas McSpadden Jr., the son, had another son named Thomas McSpadden Jr. So you have 3 generations of Thomas McSpadden Jr., which makes things a little difficult. It's kind of like they're on the Bob Newhart show. Here's my brother Darrell, my other brother Darrell. So we have, it makes it a little interesting on that. But I will call, when I'm referring to my patriot ancestor, I'm talking about the one in the middle. And Thomas was born in the western frontier of Virginia, the unfashionable western part of Virginia, as you might say, in 1748. He married a young lady named Mary Amanda, and they had 12 kids. They were fruitful and they multiplied. He was assigned to the Washington County Regiment of the Virginia Militia, which was somewhat under Nathaniel Greene from time to time. He had 5 engagements in the war. One of those engagements was he was chasing Indians away from one of the settlements. They were aligned with the Tories and the British. 2 times he was chasing the Tories and the British out of the western frontier. One time he stood guard over one of the frontier posts that were being harassed by the Tories and the British. But the 5th engagement, he was part of the skirmish that led up to the Battle of Witzel's Mill. Now, many of y'all know that this is where Nathaniel Greene was chasing Lord Tarleton. What was the Fox? What was his name? But anyway,
Raspberry?
Swamp Fox?
Swamp Fox. Swamp Fox, yeah. And they almost caught him, but he participated in that. And we understand he got wounded from it too, but there's nothing really to point directly to that. That is family lore. After the war was done, he got a land grant and ended up on the horseshoe of the Cumberland River. It's now in Nashville. And the site, it was known as McSpadden's Bend for a long time. And he ran a store there. He was injured on that. And one of the patrons of the store was a young lawyer named Andrew Jackson, who was a friend of the family there. In 1810, they moved moved east to Wilson County, to where the current city of Lebanon, Tennessee is. And the family was there for many generations, including the birth of Frank Pounders in Lebanon, Tennessee. He swore to and got his pension in 1832, at the age of 84, died 1 year later, and his wife Mary survived him, but not for very long. So all I would say is, Thomas and Mary, wherever you are, thank you for your service to our country. And I would hope that every one of you here could tell a similar story about your ancestor. It is important to be their voice. And now, as I promised, let's get back to the national anthem. This will be real short. The question at the end of it is this: oh say, hey, oh say, does that Star-Spangled Banner still wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave? And as a question, if you're pausing here about that, it's understandable. Is this still the nation of the home? Is this still the home of the brave? Is this still a land of opportunity? And as you're pausing, I know you might think, this country is so divided, but what's so new about that? Every presidential election but a few has been a 50-50. And with Clinton, twice he was elected without even getting 50%. The nation's always been divided on things. It's always been divided. But we unite when we have to. And yes, this country is still the land of opportunity. People can come here with no education, no hope, and make a career and take care of their families like nowhere else in the world. And we still courageously try to provide leadership at home and outside our home. This human world of ours is better because of the United States of America. And it thrives because of the United States of America. And the United States of America is here because of the Founding Fathers. And so my charge to you, my final charge to you is, as we approach the semi-quincentennial, we may have to wake up the woke to the fact that what we have in this nation, the opportunity, all the opportunities that they have to be educated and have a life, and the freedom to express their opinion is not there in spite of these Founding Fathers, but because of it, because of them. And these Founding Fathers and our patriot forefathers and foremothers deserve a little bit of thanks and a little bit of appreciation. That is my charge to you. Thank you.